Hi everyone. Hello beautiful soul and welcome back to the online summit Connecting Soul Beings. Today it is my great pleasure to introduce you to Carollyne Corner. Carollyne is based in Switzerland and she is a soul alignment coach and a spiritual advisor, amongst many other things. Today we are talking about our human side, ego, the soul, and how we can become whole. We also talk about honoring ourselves as a human and soul being. So sit back, relax with your cup of tea or coffee and enjoy the conversation. All right. Well, thank you so much, Carollyne, for being here today. It's wonderful to have you on the summit.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Really glad to be here.
Yes, yes. And I hear it's very hot in Switzerland.
Yes, it is. Still, we had this hugely hot summer. And we're just really glad that it's cooling now at night because it was rather hot the whole summer. But we are heading into autumn. It's while you're heading into spring.
Yes,
Lucky you.
We're in spring now.
Yeah.
Today we had our first warm day. We still have some wintry weather. Last weekend we actually had a massive hailstorm. So it's very unusual, but we're heading into summer now, which is great. I'm loving it.
Yes.
Very good. So, wow, I love what you do, being completely in the spiritual world. And I know that you focus on, in particular, women to really connect to themselves and to bring out their light, to obviously live a life completely free from any negativity and any challenges and things like that. So I've learned a lot about you in the last few months, but I would love to share a little bit about you with the audience today as well.
Well, thank you very much. The aim is to live totally free and totally happy. But of course, as we all know, life goes on and life is very lively and, gives us challenges all the time. And me too, it's not that I'm above anything.
Yes.
I love to empower women to really tune into who they really are. Not just women, I have to say. I have some men. They're not as visible on my page because they are a bit more reluctant to show their faces. It's maybe for them even more difficult to say, I'm a businessman, I'm a family man, and I'm also working on being an open spiritual being. Mm-hmm. So the variety is big. People are feeling that life is more than just work, more than just pleasure, mm-hmm. more than just hardship. And they want to see the why. They want to see the bigger picture. And that's, where I come in. I am helping them to really reconnect with their soul's whispers, help them to really see their true talents, because those talents want to be expressed. And mostly our biggest talents are so obvious to us, we don't even see it and see it as such. Mm-hmm. Because when we are doing something so naturally, it is sometimes difficult to see for us that that's actually very difficult for other people to do. And so sometimes we forget to integrate that into our work, into our career, into our day-to-day business, into our family. So I'm helping to definitely reconnect them with their true self and also what they really want to express, their soul expression. And I help them to be authentic and to be okay with that, whatever that means. And we are so unique. Everybody, had another background. We had other parents. And even if you look in your family, like looking at my children, they are 8 years apart. And when I had our daughter, I was rather young. I was 23 at the time, and I was a different person than when I had Louis, where I was 31, because I developed as well. Life changed me, I changed, and the circumstances changed. I've been a mother, the best mother that I could be to both of them, but I was a different mother. And that's okay, because that's just, we're evoking, we're changing, and life changes us. And to be okay with that, but also to acknowledge that we are all different. So my children being raised with, I think I had the same belief systems, but the circumstances were different. I had the same love for them, but still I was somewhat, I was developing myself, and I still do in those years. So if you ask both of my children, Michelle being 27 now and Louis being 19, they had other backgrounds about how they been raised, slightly, not in a big way. But then they had friends, and they were influenced by friends. They had chosen different paths where to work. They had different interests. Even though I gave them both the opportunity to play with girlish and boyish things, they both had a big variety of that, Michelle as well. Michelle always went for the pink Barbies. She was like crazy about Barbies for a time. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And Louis was all about going outside and playing, running, and doing physical things. And that's okay too. I gave him, all the opportunities to play with a Barbie, but he never, chose to do so. I gave Michelle all the opportunities to do boy stuff. They just been very individual. And of course they are, because we're all unique. Now, but I want to say, even if you're raised in a similar family and in a similar situation, we've been influenced by so many other things as well. We have different teachers who also, like society, teaches us things. And then apart from all of that, we are in our soul unique. We come with different talents, we come with different abilities, we come with different dreams, and we should honor that. And that's what I do. I honor each dream and each passion, each unique talent of a person, and help them to see the beauty of that and develop that.
Yes. So how have you experienced that for yourself? How did you discover your uniqueness and your soul connection?
Well, that's I grew up different than my family. I knew that I was different. I didn't realize that, because what I realized when I was 6 or 7 years old, or maybe even before, that your circumstances are always normality, because they're not your normality. My life was my normality. You just start to feel that you're different and experience the difference between someone else, your parents or your friends, when you see and realize that their normality is not your normality. So I always was hearing, seeing, feeling in other dimensions as well. I didn't realize that not everybody has that ability till, my mother was so shocked coming in. Probably I was 5 or 4 years old. I was playing and talking to whatever was in my room, to my guides, to some really spiritual, fun games that we played, because I used to hate to tidy up my room. And, I probably still do.
Don't we?
That's probably one of my uniquenesses. Anyhow, so they made it more fun. So they would I had these red boxes where I had to put my toys in. So they would hide in those boxes and come out and talk to me or sing, or, be in the cupboard, or I open pull the, how do you say, if you
Drawer.
A drawer, and sorry, and then they would be in there and make funny faces, and I was like giggling and talking and being just me. And my mom came in, and for her that was heartbreaking and shocking, because she had, and I didn't know that, of course, my father's brother was put into a psychiatry home because nobody knew why. Well, she didn't know. No, back at the time, 40, 50 years ago, they didn't talk about those things. She knew that he had a mental illness or whatever. And she was really, really shocked and worried about me. And soon after, I mean, first of all, I saw her face, and then I saw or felt how scared she was. And then I realized that it had something to do with me. And then when I started to explain to it, and she was even more put off, I knew that this is something I shouldn't talk about anymore to her. And so it still went on, but I knew and realized at the time that I was different. I didn't at the time realize that this is a uniqueness. I mean, I didn't see it as something positive at the time because it shocked my mother so much to the core of her being that I thought actually that's something that you shouldn't have. Anyway, as life progressed, I was happily having that connection, just me and, them. And I just didn't talk about that. And I never thought that this is going to be one day something that I'll do or integrate into my professional life. I went, my way and did, start a family. I did have a career. I was in finances and HR. And I always had that speciality about me. And if I say that, I'm not special. Like, I want to point that out because everybody has the ability to be like me. It's just about developing. And now you will say, yeah, but I wasn't born that way. Or, it's always how much you did before you came, how much that was already developed, and how much you've been bringing that into this life. But the ability is there for everyone, and everybody can raise their vibration, connect to their higher self, be in touch with their soul, and act from a place where they are just open to listen, to feel, to know. And later on, I realized that this is really something that I should honor as an ability and take into consideration that is my uniqueness.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I so agree, because we do all have that ability. Yeah. It's really tapping back into that and reconnect yourself with that. It's almost recognizing it again.
Yeah.
And then
right.
It. But it may also be a choice whether we want to or not.
Of course. It's just realizing that we are more than just our body. That itself is actually the beauty of life. Realizing that we are not just the body, and not just the mind, there is the soul, the essence of the soul too. And to realize that and work from there, that's you don't have to start to do all the woo stuff or something. Just maybe go meditate, like give your mind and your body some peace, and just be aware of the moment and let your energies just flow, and just not think, not attach yourself to anything. It doesn't have to have an outcome. It doesn't have to have a win. It's just be in the quiet. And that could be already the maximum of what we want to do. And that's totally fine, because that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's all different kind of ways to connect. And it doesn't have to be, if you see me and if you see my day-to-day life, you wouldn't guess, I'm saying woo now, you wouldn't guess that I'm a totally spiritual person, even though I act from my spirit and try to. I can't always, I get angry and, I just start to breathe in and let go and know. And, I'll do all that. But I'm a human, so
Yes.
I'm in this human body, so I have all these experiences too. But I live a totally normal life, and I make totally, like, for my clients that I work with, we make decisions based on my spiritual knowledge, and they always agree with the knowledge that I have from economy as well. But still, I'm a person who loves to use my knowledge of businesses, of developing things as well. So it always is coherent with what I hear, but it's just using both sides.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's really interesting to use both elements, isn't it? And in particular, when sometimes they don't agree. And that's where the challenge is sometimes, to keep them separate, but working together. Personally, I've learned that having that human side is fantastic and we need it, but it may hold me back in doing certain things. And then I just sit there going, okay, that's great information you shared. I know at the moment I'm holding that back, but I know that this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. So let's just take a step in that direction and see what happens, because it's not all scary or, fearful, or nothing will happen really. So I always aim not to move it to the side, because I acknowledge it, but work together.
Which part do you not put to the side, but acknowledge?
The human side. The human side, the ego. Yeah, I always call it the human side.
Okay.
It's so important to work together in that aspect as well, and to recognize each other and to acknowledge that, and to have that teamwork going within yourself.
The thing is, well, we have this human experience. We're here to have a human experience. Otherwise, we'd just be souls. We have, in between lives, we have enough to do. It's not that, you can busy yourself as a soul as well. Yes. You have, everybody has their place in there, whatever they do in between lives. So we want that experience. And that's why this experience is whole with every aspect. I always follow my spirit, which led me to the craziest stuff, but I always honor my spirit and go there. So that's I do that. And you said the ego side. I know that a lot of people describe that, and I never really realized what they meant with the ego, because in German, I'm Swiss, so in my language it means be an egomanic, be egomanic. Just only think about yourself, and what it confused me at first, because as I told you, I didn't know those spiritual words. Yes. I haven't read anything from apart from Kübler-Ross, which was a Swiss author, a professor, and she, like, her books when I was 16 opened up the possibility that other people, I only knew my mother is not agreeing with what I'm seeing, but as I didn't speak about it anymore, I didn't know if anybody else has that. So when I started to read Kübler-Ross, I was about 14 years old, I think. And that was the only thing that was here in German and in a Swiss bookstore possible to read. So for many years, I didn't have names for all the things that I did and heard and got to know over the years. And the ego part is one thing that I'm not totally agreeing on, even though everybody in the spiritual world seems to use that term. And I see it more as you see, like the human part, like a part of our soul or a part of us that has been influenced by the past, by the beauty of the past. Because the ego always seems to be like the bad boys, and people talk about that. But I think it's just, if you talk about the human side of us, it's just a part of our soul, is this uniqueness, this high, what I call the higher self. It's this unique, beautiful essence of us that is source-like. and it's untouched, uninfluenced, and doesn't care about anything that comes into our lives because it stays that beautiful way. It's perfect, like something that's perfect and whole and unique cannot be changed and is not changed. Mm-hmm. And then one part of our soul is just influenced by what we are experiencing. And we experience beauty as much as we experience sadness. We see the light and the dark of our lives and other lives in other lifetimes and dimensions. So when we have that part of our soul, which probably some people, I still don't get the concept, but I think probably some people would call the ego side. That's just the side that has made up some conclusion or took some conclusion out of what was happening in their lives in this lifetime or any other planet of existence. And so this information is stored in that part and makes, when you have a bad experience, you reflect on that.
Yeah.
And it's like the soul would reflect on that bad experience, and you don't want to have another bad experience. So you try to avoid that, try to find other ways. And that's probably when this voice kicks in, who will be human, when you call it that way, and just reflects what that side of your soul has learned through life. And I always encourage people to listen to that other side, to that unique whole soul part that is totally untouched by anything. Because there you reach the point where you reach from, where you take your value, your thoughts, your dreams from a very pure part.
Yeah.
And be brave enough to put it outwards.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah, definitely. It's and that's literally living your life from that place. And it's a very different feeling when you live your life from that place.
Yeah.
It feels less pressured and it feels more peaceful and almost very easy because it flows so nicely.
It is like whole.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
So there is the identification with something that's not you makes it difficult for us, makes the thoughts go spinning around, makes life feel hard.
Mm-hmm.
The ambition, you can let go of everything if something's whole, if something's perfect. You just be in there, that energy. That doesn't mean that you don't live anymore. It just means when you act from a place of that, there is no need to. There is nothing lacking because there is a wholeness. And that what makes it so, that what makes it feel easy. And life should be like that. We are programmed, that's our big opportunity for us to live from a place of peace.
Yeah.
And they're still, interacting with other people. It's still life, and it's still things go wrong and still things go beautifully. But for yourself, you are at a place where you act from a place of wholeness. And that's just a different kind of living.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, exactly. With my clients and what I've read lately as well, there's a lot of talk around alignment and soul alignment. And I know in the work that you do with your beautiful clients, that is also a focus area. What is soul alignment? What can we, what is it?
Well, what I said before about living from that place where you are aligned with who you are at soul level. And you are at soul level, I guess, I can't speak for other people, but for me, that's this unique higher self, uninfluenced part of our soul that is just this unique source light. And in there, that's all, how can you say that? That's all who we are, like with our talents, with our soul's structure, our uniqueness, and being aligned with that, meaning, living a life where you honor your talents, where you bring that into your life. Mm-hmm. And this sounds now very theoretical, but, taking that to a practical side, one of my beautiful clients I'm working with her every week. And she has different companies. And some of the companies were service-based and are. And one of the companies that she has is a product, a beautiful product. And she was disaligned with that product. And, she just sort of had to fall in love with it again, mm-hmm. which is actually, it's I think she's okay if I say that, it's epic matcha. So that's a matcha tea. And she wanted to bring that matcha tea from Japan to the US. Right. And she did. And it's a beautiful organic matcha. And the reason why she wanted to have that was because she really loved the ritual there in Japan, that the people take a moment, step back, have that tea ceremony, having that ritual for taking a moment in your day and concentrate on your inner being and drinking that tea and giving with that, giving yourself time to just relax instead of a meditation. And if she would be here, she will tell you now exactly what matcha does with your brain waves, that you actually are in a state like meditation.
Oh, wow.
So it's a beautiful product. And somehow in the transition of that, she didn't express why she brought that product. Mm-hmm. into the US and why she wants to sell it. And so we aligned, and the two things. Mm-hmm. One of her main talents are building physical stuff, how can you say that? Well, building businesses or building physical things. From the second chakra is very physical, so she has a lot of energy there. So that means if you have to bring that into your workspace, then it's either you start to include something physical in your offerings. Even though if you're a service-based company, you can include something physical. Could be meeting one-on-one mm-hmm. instead of meeting virtual. Something that you can touch and feel. Yeah. So adding that to her portfolio, adding that to her life and work meant that she feels more whole because she loves that part of herself as well and forgot about it. Yeah. She had to fall in love with her product again. And what came out, and still in the process, is this beautiful ritual book and a ritual box even that you can order now. And she started to do Reiki again. And she started to, create beautiful senses that, oil that you can add to your home. And it started a whole process. It was like lighting that little fire in her. Because she was aligned suddenly again to the product, and out came this beautiful concept that she's written, and she was so inspired by that. And that was because we sort of realigned and re-triggered what actually her soul wanted to express. And it seemed like, once you let that little thought out and give it some space, whoosh, it was like that. And these beautiful ideas just flew and came. It was like the allowance of being aligned there, and it was waiting like behind closed doors. You could actually feel how it just came out. And that's what's happening when you align yourself with who you are at soul level. And sometimes there are small things that will make big changes.
Yeah, exactly. It only has to be that tiny thing. Yeah. The little shift.
That's right.
Sometimes we're looking for the big one, but it's the little ones that make sometimes the
exactly. And honor that. Like say, okay, it seems little. And actually that was what she was saying. Like I came and said, like, let's work at Epic Matcha. And she was like, why? Because there were bigger things that she wanted to change in other areas. But with that little bit, you can, take that step. Don't think it's unimportant. If you have a feeling that, I could actually, but is it worth it? Take those little steps there. You never know where they open up to.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, beautiful. So is there something that you could perhaps share with the audience that they can take away and perhaps practice for themselves to become more in alignment with themselves?
Yes, of course. There are a few things. And as you know, I prepared for your audience a freebie where they can actually go and look at those tools. I have a little explanation about the emotions in there. It would be too long to go into that, but it's really about how our emotions reflect the state and give us some feedback on if we are aligned or not.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting. And there are actually a few tools, and one of them called the elevator lift, where you can rise your vibration. What I can do is I can share something else additionally to that. There are little tools in there that you can integrate in everyday's sort of activity. Like while I'm brushing my teeth, I'm doing the morning ritual, which is like having 5 positive thoughts about what you love about your life. You can do that and brush your teeth. Like little things like that you find, and bigger things like that you find in that tool. And I think all of those tools that I give you in that PDF would be really, really harnessing and just uplifting your life.
Beautiful.
What is important is a lot of people who are interested in rising their vibration, and probably the audience that are listening to us now have a lot of empathy, like us, and that sometimes is a little bit tricky because we want to have other people feel great as well. We want to uplift them. We have our loved ones, we have our families, our friends, and if we see somebody who's not really aligned or in difficulties, we have a lot of empathy to them. We want to help them. And I think the biggest takeaway that I can give and share right now is probably that we can be of inspiration when we do our own work, but we can't do anybody else's work. So we will not be able to uplift anybody who is not uplifting themselves.
Yes.
And that sometimes is the hardest part, because we seem to think, and we may not know, but we seem to think we would know what that person needs, and we would want to help them. Yeah. And it has to come from themselves, in themselves. So the best thing what we can do is do our part, uplift ourselves, harness the energy around us, and be loving, be kind, and have an open ear, but also be aware that everybody has the tools that they need. We can give them a tip, but we can't do one tip, not 100 or 1,000,000 tips. And we can be changing our own lives, hiring our own vibration, harnessing what we are here to do, and then be of inspiration for them. And I think that's very important, because I know how hard it is to see if someone is not feeling well, and you just, you can't do the work for anybody else but yourself. That's why it's so important to do the work for yourself and then be an inspiration for other people, and they see, oh yeah, I see the change in you, and that could be leading them then to do the work for themselves. In one of the things that you can do, and I think that's very important, is honor your emotions, honor where you are right now, because you can't have it differently. You are who you are right now in this moment. and you can change from here. And you can embrace who you are and where you are, because that's the sum of the life that you lived. Unconscious or consciously, you make the decisions that brought you to the place where you are. And if you want to do that, bring change into your life, if you want to harness more energy, if you want to change things in your life, you don't have to go for the big pictures. It's great to have a vision. And it's beautiful and it's important to train your mind to see where you want to go. Mm-hmm. But don't feel overwhelmed. Know that there is time and there is space in between. And with each steps you improve your life, you come closer to your vision. There's a saying, and I can't quote the saying because I can't remember it exactly, but there is a movie, I think it's called Marigold Hotel. I don't know if you saw it. It plays in India, okay? So this guy, this hotel owner, always says something like, if it's not perfect, it's not finished. So don't get discouraged on the way, because if you feel you're not there yet, then it's just not finished yet. You keep going and you keep moving. I think to know and honor that you do it for yourself and be an inspiration, but you can't, lift up anybody else who doesn't want to lift up themselves is important. It's important to do your things in a regular base. You find them all in my tool freebie. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you'll link it somewhere.
Yes,
for the link to that. Okay.
Yes.
There is the morning routine, which I love. I do a lot of those things myself, but definitely, I not always, but definitely my clients will do them. So, and I see them improving. The last bit is about harboring your vibration and bringing them up in an elevator. That's a beautiful tool which you need to invest a little bit more time. Mm. But I think having a daily routine, you can actually hook that into your life. Mm-hmm. So if you want to integrate some of the tools, the best way to start new routines, and that's another tip, is if you hook them on something. And what I'll do, I haven't got it here now, sadly, but I normally have an English breakfast tea in the morning. It's our morning here. So I have normally an English breakfast tea because I've lived in England, loved it so much. This reminds me of that wonderful time. English breakfast tea with some milk. So that's my goodie in the morning, and I love that. And so if I want to integrate something new, I hook it on that tea. Now that sounds silly, but what I do is years ago, I wanted to start to daily meditate, but found myself a little bit sometimes it was too late. Sometimes I had a meeting too early, and, I just didn't do it really daily. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I only allowed myself to have my tea, which is a must because I can't get going before I have it.
Yeah.
When I had done the meditation. So I would get up earlier to do the meditation to be then able to have my tea because that's the must. So I hooked that on this tool. And that's what I found is a great way to integrate something. And I'm not saying go now and integrate all of the tools right away every day. If you add something on a weekly basis, that's brilliant. Mm-hmm. If you can think of beautiful things about life and what you actually love about your life and yourself, do it while you brush your teeth, that's beautiful too. Mm. It's just starting to integrate something. And if you have your goal set too high, it's clearly more easily to stumble. So if you think you have to do meditations every day, I mean, I just said that, but that was in a process where I worked on a course, and I wanted to integrate that meditation. Anyhow, it's very ambitious to do that every day. Mm. It's fine if you can do it a few minutes every 2 or 3 days, and then do that. It's better than nothing, right? Yeah. So just be realistic. What is possible to integrate and what not. and don't pressure yourself, because wherever you are now, in 5 weeks or in a year, is fine. You just start to add more beauty and add more love into your life, and that's going to add more of energy vibrating on a high level.
Beautiful. Wow, what a great topic to talk about. I love it. And thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. It was beautiful, Bianca.
You're very welcome. It's been an absolute honor to have you here. And I'm sure everybody had so much value out of that. That's absolutely amazing. You are so giving and so warm and loving. It's wonderful. Thank you
so much. Thank you so much. I love to be here. Thank you.